So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and as you've probably already figured out from the title, this video will be about an archering weapon. So if you get motion sickness from doing archering and stuff like that, you may want to skip this one. Alright, so if you know me and you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know that I've never been big into archering. I never even made any videos about it. I think I only mentioned it like once or twice when the rush and pursuit mode were introduced into the game. I never covered the frames or the weapons or anything like that. So it may come as a wee bit of a surprise that I'm making a video about an archering weapon. Well, here's the thing. About a week ago, the Corpus finally finished building their Razorback and unleashed it onto the solar system, sieging the Chronia Relay. And if you wanted to find the Razorback and get parts for Gorgon Wraith, you had to do archering to farm cryptographic alus to build a cipher, which would then unlock the mission. So I started farming the alus and I was bored because I was floating around with my Imperator, which is the most boring weapon ever, and I was just like, meh, I'm just here because I have to do this, otherwise I can't get the alus, I can't build the ciphers, and I can't fight the Razorback. However, as I did more and more missions and I farmed more and more alus, I started to notice that in almost every mission, someone was flying around with this crazy-ass arbalest, firing off these horizontal plasma beams, and it looked like a genuinely fun weapon to use. I of course didn't look at the name of the weapon, so I had no idea what it was, but it just looked interesting. But then I finished the event and that was about it. However, this weapon just stuck in my mind. I kept thinking about it because I thought it would just be fun to try it out. And today, after about a week after the Razorback was destroyed, I logged into the game, saw a couple of archering alerts and went, I wanted to try that crazy arbalest that I kept seeing, didn't I? So I did a bit of googling and I found out that the weapon that I kept seeing throughout most of the missions is called the Fluctus. And it looks amazing. I mean, look at how huge this thing is. I'm even hesitant to call this an arbalest. This is a ballista that someone picked up off the ground. But anyway, this baby is pinpoint accurate. It has 15% crit chance, 200% multiplier, it has 25 rounds in the magazine, 10% status chance, and it does 200 damage with each shot. 140 is slash, 40 is impact, and 20 is puncture. And the weapon is also fairly easy to get. You just get the blueprint from the Tenno lab in your dojo, which will cost you 15,000 credits, and if you then want to build it, it will take you 12 hours and you will have to put in additional 45,000 credits, 2 argon crystals, and you're gonna have to get the barrel, stock, and limbs, which you get from syndicates for 20,000 standing, or you can also buy them from other players because they're tradable. And you get the barrel from Cephalon Suda, you get the stock from Steel Meridian, and you can get the limbs from Red Veil. And that's it. That's all you need. Now, I of course rushed the weapon right away, and I started leveling it, which took a surprisingly short amount of time. Now, I was running a booster, but it only took me about 3 missions to get it to rank 30. And to my surprise, I was having a blast. This weapon is so much fun to use. I then spent about 3 hours doing archering missions and nothing else. Because turns out, I actually don't hate archering. It's just that the Imperator sucks. I mean, bloody hell, I even put 2 Forma onto the Fluctus. I've never put Forma onto anything archering related before. I don't even know if the build is good. I never made an archering build before, but I went with rubedo-lined barrel for damage, then dual rounds for multi-shot, parallax scope for crit chance, and hollowed bullet for critical damage. Then, to extend the magazine a little bit, I added magazine extension, which gives me 40 rounds instead of 25, and I've combined that with shell rush, which increases the speed at which the magazine charges its ammo, because without these two, or with just one of them, I was running out of ammo far too often, and I just had to wait around, which I didn't really like. And then I added polar magazine and combustion rounds for blast damage, which made the most sense for me, because it seems like you're fighting a lot of machinery, and blast is really strong versus machinery. So yeah, thanks to this weapon, I've actually had a lot of fun playing archering today, and I did all the different game modes. I did mobile defense, I did interception, I even did shark wing, which it's not as good as normal archering, I would say, because the movement is just a little bit sluggish, but the weapon definitely made it more tolerable than it was before. But you know, I was doing rush and pursuit, and I was actually enjoying it. I was having genuine fun with archering, which I honestly did not expect. I expected just to get the weapon and be like, that's kind of cool, and never pick it up again. So yeah, the Fluctus, a weapon so good it made me like archering. But on a more serious note though, I would recommend the Fluctus to anyone, especially to people that never tried anything other than the Imperator and don't really like archering, because you may be in a similar situation to the one I was in, where I wouldn't get anything other than the Imperator because I thought I didn't like Archwing, but it was actually the Imperator because it's boring and terrible. So definitely try it out. And I mean, the weapon isn't expensive. You just get the blueprint, then you have to farm 2 Argon Crystals, and you have to get the 3 parts, which are not expensive either. Each costs 20,000 standing. That's nothing. The Fluctus is a ton of fun and looks amazing, and I love the animation on the bolt because you actually fire a bolt that flattens out after a couple of meters and it turns into this beam. And it also has about 275 meter punch through, which, you know, makes sense for Archwing missions because things are very far apart, but it's really strong in Sharkwing missions because the tilesets are generally smaller, and sometimes when you fire off a bolt you can kill like 20 enemies with it. So this weapon gets a big thumbs up from me. I would definitely recommend it. It's just genuinely fun to use, and it turns Archwing from a snorefest into something enjoyable. And let's also not forget that the weapon is very strong and it does more than enough damage to deal with any of the Archwing missions, and the AoE is really nice, especially in Archwing where you're usually getting swarmed by multiple enemies at any given time. And you know, not having to be as precise as with something like the Imperator when everything is constantly floating and moving around, including yourself, is really nice. And that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching as always, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.